As the end of the transfer window has drawn to a close, there's a significant number of young Manchester United players that have now gone out on loan to try and gain some experience. I'll give you the full list of who's gone and where they've gone, and then I'll go through the ones that I think are worth going into a little bit more detail on, and we'll talk about how they're getting on, whether or not they could come back and compete for a first-team place, etc. So, the full list, we've got Desean Bernard has gone to Hull City. Nathan Bishop has gone to Mansfield Town. Tahith Chong has gone to Birmingham. We've got Reece Devine at St Johnstone. Will Fish has gone to Stockport County. That's an interesting one. Again, another young centre-back going getting minutes in a pretty tough environment. I like that one. Ethan Galbraith has gone to Doncaster Rovers. Jimmy Garner has gone to Nottingham Forest. Ethan Laird has gone to Swansea. Dillon Levitt has gone to Dundee United. Damani Miller has gone to Salford. Palestri has gone to Alaves. Andreas Pereira has gone to Flamengo. Axel Tuanzebe has gone back to Aston Villa. Obviously, he enjoys it there. And Brandon Williams has gone to Norwich City. And that is a staggering 14 players that have gone out on loan. And it'll be interesting to see how the different players are getting on over the course of the season. So we'll probably do one of these a month to try and catch up on where everyone's been up to and what they're all doing. But the most notable ones are the two ones that have gone to the Premier League, I think. And I think it's only fair to start right at the very top of the tree. And that is Axel Tuanzebe and Brandon Williams. So let's start with those two. So Axel has joined Aston Villa. They did quite well last season with a good defensive record. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can solidify a starting role in that team. It's been a bit of a rock-solid partnership with Konsa and Mings. Obviously, they got very good goalkeeper that's behind them. They did well on the back of Jack Grealish's chance creation. They've signed some players in his replacement. So it'd be interesting to see how they actually do as a team. Are they going to go on and be a better football side that's less easy to shut down because you don't have to shut one player down? He did help them to win promotion to the Premier League in 2019, and it feels like he's barely played since then, to be honest with you. He won their player of the season, and with the signing of Varane, I think he was like, right, listen, I need to go and play some games, and he does. Axel's ceiling was whatever he wanted it to be. Axel's one of the most natural defenders I've ever seen, but there's an important development window during which time Axel has been injured. Now, I thought he was ready to kick on. When he went to Villa, played most of the season, didn't really have as many injury problems as he's had at United, I thought, yeah, the guy's ready now and he's going to kick on. And then it didn't happen for him. And it's almost getting to the point now where you go, for your own career and for the club, we're probably going to have to part ways. And I think he's easily a Premier League level defender, comfortably. Whether or not he's going to ever end up in that upper echelon, he needs games. He needs to now just go somewhere where he's first choice, plays week in, week out. And do you know what? I even don't necessarily think, and this is going to go for all of these lads that are out on loan, that development window from 17 to 21, if you're still 22 and haven't made a first team debut somewhere, it doesn't even matter where. That's why I'm like Will Fish going to Stockport. It doesn't matter where you go. You have to go and play competitive football regularly against people that are playing for their careers. You don't get that in academy football. It's too nice. You don't get exposed to enough different flavours. And I think that important development window, you need to start racking up games, 15, 20, 25, 30 games in a season. That's when you know you can start to develop. And the learning curve in that time is going to be huge. And you have to go out and do that. He's had that with Villa. He needs that. If he doesn't get that again this season, I don't know what his career is going to come to. And he will be, obviously not quite Ravel Morrison levels, but a miss to the game, I think, in a mad, mad big way. Brandon Williams is the other one that's gone to the Premier League, and he's joined Norwich, already made his debut in a 2-1 loss against Leicester, where from all accounts he had a pretty good showing of himself. Quickly became third choice left back with the emergence of Luke Shaw in the last 18 months and since we signed Tellez, and he struggled to get sufficient game time. I think there's been some off-the-pitch stuff with Brandon, but he's still only 21. He's played a lot of first-team and Premier League level football. There's still a real player in there. Certainly not polished by any stretch of the imagination, but there's a Premier League level player in there, and his ability to compete, and I mean, if you understand what I'm saying there, his ability to compete will always stand him in good stead. And again, Premier League level footballer. Is that at Manchester United? Up for debate, especially with the performances Luke Shaw's put in. Here's what happened with Brandon and Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw was playing so badly that Brandon came in and just on the sheer ability to compete and willingness to compete, totally overtook him. Now, that might have been a kick up the arse for Luke Shaw, and it might have made him start working. Tellez's arrival definitely did. And within 6 months of Tellez arriving, Luke Shaw had actually got back to being the old Luke Shaw. The problem is, for Brandon, Luke Shaw's ceiling was always higher than Brandon's. It was just he was never able to be consistent, and he was never able to consistently put those performances out. Once he started to find consistency, well, he's your player. And I think over the last 6 months or so, he's done that. I think he's had a fairly quiet start to the season, but I don't really think there's anyone that's completely blown it up. Mason Greenwood aside, that's blown the doors off since the start of this season. So I think it's a good thing for Brandon to go and get game time. It'll do him good. And we'll see where he goes from that. I think he'll probably end up moving to a Premier League club on the back of this, though. Tahith Chong. So Chong has made a real big, huge early impression at Birmingham City. And again, only 21. Joined them on a season-long deal and made a bit of an immediate impact in the Championship in the opening games of the campaign. He got a man of the match performance against Sheffield United, and then he missed matches against Colchester and Stoke because he was injured before he came back against Bournemouth. And he was the star of the show again against Luton, helped them to a 5-0 victory over Luton, claiming assists for the team's second and third goals of the match. They've even started singing Chong will tear you apart again. So it looks like he's adapted well, and maybe somewhere like the Championship suits him. I don't quite think Chong had the tools in his locker to become a Manchester United winger. There was a lot of Dan James about him. But that doesn't mean he can't be a professional in the Prem or the Championship, which is where I think that his ceiling probably is. He's very quick and he's very direct. And sometimes that can lead you to scoring goals and getting assists. But I think for United, you have to have an extra string to your bow, or do something, or do everything well and something extraordinary. And I don't think Chong had that in him. So this is, again, a good opportunity for him to showcase what he can do. And maybe United can flip him for a little bit of a profit come the end of a probably pretty fruitful season for him there at Birmingham. Jimmy Garner, another one that's returned to an old club where he had very, very strong success. And that's Jimmy Garner at Nottingham Forest. Led in every single statistical metric that you can think of. Got a new contract in the summer, has gone back out on loan again. Probably one of the closest players in terms of being able to make the step up into the first team currently. I think that's because of the dire need of someone who does what he does in midfield. If he goes and has a performance, even 90% of what he had last season as the number 6 for Nottingham Forest, there will be, justifiably so, a lot of calls for him to be Manchester United's starting number 6 next season. And I'll be one of them, I think. He was sensational at Forest last season, and he might save United 50 million quid next year. Ethan Laird, another one that's shown serious amount of promise on loan at MK Dons last season. He's now gone on loan to Swansea City, and that is Ethan Laird. More consistent games at a better level will do him really good, and I think he could come back and compete with Wan-Bissaka. Ethan Laird's ceiling, a bit like Tuanzebe, unlimited. He could do anything he wants in a game. Wan-Bissaka could only dream of doing with the ball what Laird does with the ball. He really could become established as a right-back at Manchester United. He's definitely good enough to be able to go and do that. His only drawback is he's always getting injured. Didn't seem to get injured too much last season at MK Dons, and maybe he's got the sort of body where when he's playing, he's fine, but when he's in and out and in and out and in and out, maybe his body doesn't handle the uptake in intensity too well. Maybe he's got to keep it permanently intense. It was sensational for MK Dons, had people like drooling, and now he's gone to a more difficult place in Swansea. Hopefully he gets the same amount of game time, because he really could stake a claim in it going forward. Dillon Levitt, I'm a big fan of Dillon Levitt, mate. Basically an ever-present in the Welsh midfield at international level, and a never-present for Manchester United. And there's a bit of Donny van der Beek about him. He's got a brilliant ability to control the tempo of a game. I think he's just not quite there yet physically. It might take him a little bit longer to get. But going somewhere to Dundee, playing in the Scottish Prem's going to do him the world of good. he featured in some preseason games, Derby County and QPR, to name a couple. This will be good experience for him. He's shown character to just go to Croatia last season to try and force his way through. Didn't quite happen for him. He's got 9 caps for his country. He's going to look to progress ahead of the World Cup later next year. And hopefully he does it on the back of having a very successful loan with Dundee. I think he's a stellar player. His only drawback is physicality. I mean, his debut for Manchester United on a shit pitch against Astana, he made 100 out of 106 passes. When you think about what United need, it's a lot of that, to be honest. Another midfielder, and again, someone who could probably do it more of an 8 than a 6, really, but again, someone who definitely could do this job. He offers deep-lying goal threat. He's got good playmaking ability. He's got a brilliant tempo and energy to his game. He's a real live wire in midfield, and there's a lot of quality to him as well. Good engine on him, and that's Heath Galbraith. And again, Northern Ireland international before he's an established first-team player at Manchester United. Made his debut in that Europa League game against Astana. Also managed to get involved in pre-season. And I think he's doing well. He's going to go on experience with Doncaster, with Aidan Barlow, who's also there as well. And I think this is a decent move for him. He's going to look good playing for Doncaster, I think. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. Ethan's one that kind of went under the radar. Jimmy Garner seemed to get a lot of the headlines because of what he did on loan at Nottingham Forest. And Dillon was getting the headlines because of just featuring for an international team that had more United eyes on it, with the fact that Dan James was in the side and that. So, and obviously Ryan Giggs at the time was managing it. So I think he just got a little bit more spotlight on him. Make no mistake, Heath Galbraith, it's just one of them. Only one of them 3 is probably going to come through. But it could be any of those 3, really. I think Jimmy's probably in the driving seat at the moment because of what he's got and proved he can do. But the other 2 now have got an opportunity as well. Desean Bernard is another one. I like Desean. He's a bit of a threat at set pieces, and you don't see that often enough for my liking. He's now gone and joined Hull in the Championship on a season-long loan after just having his contract renewed following a couple of decent pre-season performances. Only 20 years of age, and he embarks on his second move away after having a pretty successful loan with Salford last season in League 2, where he featured 29 times as they finished 8th in the table. So he's stepped it up in terms of the level that he's going to, and he's challenged himself with a good move. So fair play to him. And I think that, again, probably not going to come through for United, but certainly going to have a career. If you're already going out and you can starting in the Championship at 20 years of age, you can definitely make the move into the Premier League. Can he come back into a top 6 club? Could he even stick around at United? Well, stranger things have happened, haven't they? But some real good players and some good places for us to go and watch. What I'll probably do with this loan watch is I'll try and get to at least 1 game a month of one of these guys, and I'll give you as a bit of a scout report from the ground and also tie up what everybody else has done. How's that sound? Right, cheers for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.